Charlie knew the guard was innocent, but she also saw the spirits. They were upset, angry, agonized by the presence of the guard. Charlie knew it wasn't right, but she had to put the other spirits first, so she agreed to help them try to kill the guard. The only thing that calmed her down was that music box. Whenever Jeremy wore the mask, the spirits were tricked into thinking he was one of them. Shadow Freddy followed Jeremy home every night. The pizzeria was having its own supernatural events go on during all of this. Shadow Bonnie was making drawings repeat. A spare endoskeleton, some paper plate dolls, and JJ were all filled with agony and could move on their own. Meanwhile, Freddy's was getting investigated due to the recent disappearances. William quit his day shift position before the police could question him. Henry wanted to try to track William down since he was the main suspect last time kids went missing. Eventually, the whole pizzeria went on lockdown and Jeremy was given a memo not to show up. Jeremy ignored this. He knew something was going on at Freddy's. He had to investigate more. Police officers were surrounding the pizzeria, but Jeremy managed to sneak in. Jeremy had been telling Michael what the night shifts were like. At any point now, Jeremy knew he'd be switching to day shift. It would be easier if both him and Michael were at Freddy's anyway. That way, they have a higher chance of finding something out. They were determined to learn what happened to their friend. Jeremy was told to show up for a birthday party that morning. He did as he was told. This was the chance for Michael to get hired. Jeremy and Michael knew about the animatronics' facial recognition. Luckily, Michael knew a thing or two from his dad, so he managed to hack into the toy animatronics and get them to not recognize him. Michael was then able to apply under the fake identity of Fritz Smith. That day, Jeremy watched over the birthday party. All was going well, but the animatronics seemed a little off. The animatronics seemed mad at him. What Jeremy didn't realize is that his presence during the day is what did it for the spirits. They were not gonna risk the guard killing any of the children at this party. Toy Chica took action. She walked right over to Jeremy and bit his forehead. Her beak bit down deep into Jeremy's frontal lobe, nearly killing him. Families screamed as children were rushed out of the pizzeria by their parents. Jeremy was taken to a hospital where he had lived, but his frontal lobe was surgically removed. Michael tried to visit Jeremy in the hospital before his shift, but he was told only family was allowed. He came to his first night, upset. Poor Jeremy, he hadn't deserved what happened. Why would the animatronics do that? What else were they capable of? Michael didn't want to find out. He had snuck in a toolbox with him. Michael went to every animatronic before his shift started and he tampered with them, with their AI, to hopefully make them less aggressive. Michael then started his shift. Jeremy had told him exactly what to do. Wind the music box. Oh crap, he didn't mess with the puppet's AI, did he? That's okay. Flash Foxy and wear the mask if anyone else comes in. Michael was stressed out. He could feel the sweat dripping down his whole body, but he also felt something else. A presence. Was that Garrett? Michael could sense Garrett, but how? Was Garrett somehow here? Things were starting to get really interesting. Unfortunately, Michael was fired after that night because the cameras caught him tampering with the animatronics. Great, Michael left with more questions than answers. He wanted info on his friend who disappeared, but instead he got no new info on that. His other friend was now in the hospital. He had definitely sensed Garrett in the pizzeria. He also didn't understand why the animatronics were aggressive. There was something bigger here. Michael knew it, but he saw the news. Freddy's is now closing due to the bite. Now what? What was wrong with these animatronics? Henry couldn't figure it out. He had repaired the old animatronics and brought them to the old pizzeria. Unfortunately, Fazbear Entertainment was losing money, so Foxy could not be repaired, another side effect from Garrett's death. The place was refurbished. Henry hired different guards to watch over the place, but the animatronics always killed them and stuffed their body in a suit. Something was wrong with these animatronics. He knew it. The man who filled in empty guard positions knew it too. The puppet would watch as the animatronics continued to kill guards. She couldn't stop them. They only listened to William. However, Charlie decided she would not partake in this anymore. Freddy's was going to close by the end of the year. No one wanted to come here anymore. This restaurant had a good run, but it was going to end. Michael had been indecisive on what he wanted to do about Freddy's. He had been having a lot of trouble keeping a job. He was fired from Tire Zone for insubordination. He had been fired from Media World because of a generally unpleasant disposition. Michael was very behind on his bills. He needed a job desperately. When he saw Freddy's was hiring a new security guard, he decided to go for it. However, he knew he had to do a fake ID and resume again, so he applied under the name Mike Schmidt. He got the job. During the interview, Michael could sense Garrett's presence again. This had to mean something. Michael worked 7 nights at Freddy's. The guard before him sent messages during his last week. Michael listened to these messages and was given a great shock when the previous guard had been killed in his last message. Michael felt like he was going crazy working here. He kept seeing posters change on the wall, the same drawing in multiple rooms, endoskeletons and spare heads came to life, random newspaper clippings about the missing children. The phrase, "It's me," popped up everywhere. He saw creepy Freddy's and Bonnie's flash in his face. The carousel went off randomly. There was a knocking sound. What was going on? It was like the pizzeria itself was somehow alive. On top of all that, Michael had to make sure the animatronics didn't get into his office and kill him. This time he had doors he could shut on the animatronics. However, there was limited power in the building. Michael had to make every move strategic. During all of this, he could still sense Garrett. Michael didn't want to come here anymore. He thought it wasn't worth almost dying, but Garrett was there somehow, so he had to come back. On his 5th night, Michael got a strange call. It sounded like one of the animatronics were calling him, but he ignored this. Michael wanted nothing more than to reunite with his brother. He even came for an extra 6th night. He was only paid 50 cents for it, but Michael didn't care about the money. His brother was here. But the animatronics were getting more and more aggressive, making Michael's chances of survival very slim. For his 7th night, Michael brought in a toolbox. He wasn't going to let these darn animatronics win. He tampered with their AIs and got a chill night. However, he was caught once again and fired. Michael was also told to take some more showers before he was forced to leave. "You try working 6-hour shifts with these machines trying to kill you," Michael thought. "I bet you'd be sweating too." Now, Michael was kicked out of Freddy's. No way to contact his brother. He was not letting this go. But first, he needed a job. It took a while, but Michael did manage to get hired into an apprentice-level position at a construction firm. The foreman agreed to take a chance with Michael. He supposedly had a past of his own too. Freddy's was closed, for good. The building was supposed to get the wrecking ball treatment. Actually, it was supposed to get destroyed back in 1985, but no one could let it go. No one wanted to bring their business there. People just thought it didn't feel right. It was like Freddy's had an aura, not allowing itself to be destroyed. Guards would still be hired at Freddy's. It was a waste though. They were killed every time. William loved how loyal his family was, but it was time to move to greater things. So William hired a crew and got his whole basement repurposed to a giant underground facility. He called it Circus Babies Entertainment and Rentals. It was a place where William kept the Funtime animatronics, and parents could rent certain animatronics for their children's birthday parties. William would bring the animatronics out to the birthday party, and then during the night they would stay in their party room and be worked on by technicians. It made really good money. Unfortunately, a complication did occur. William completely forgot that he had left Rory in his experiment room. One day, the gas ran out and Rory had almost escaped. He wandered Circus Babies, even found the fake version of his friend Wade. Rory listened to the fake Wade to find the generator to shut everything down, but William stopped him. William convinced Rory to turn the gas back on and stay in the experiment rooms. But it didn't last long. Rory had a second chance to escape and ended up wandering Circus Babies again. He couldn't find his way out. Rory died trying to escape, and his body was found in one of the vents. Things were going well for William. Circus babies had made him rich. He even had enough money to open a new restaurant called Chica's Party World. William moved Funtime Chica over there. Babies and Chicas were the only Fazbear Entertainment related establishments left, though there were talks of opening a water park. William even had another kid with his wife, who he rarely spoke to these days. His wife thought if they had another kid, maybe it could be a second chance and spark something in their now dead relationship. They had a daughter named Vanessa, though William still preferred the missing children as his actual family. While things with this new spark went okay at first, the arguments became more and more frequent. William and his wife eventually agreed a divorce was necessary. However, they couldn't agree on who gets the kid. If this woman was divorcing him, then William didn't want her to have the satisfaction of keeping the little brat Vanessa. William manipulated Vanessa. He forced her to say all the things he wanted her to. Vanessa was young. She was scared of what her father would do if she didn't obey. She said exactly what William wanted. She had made her mom look so bad that she was not allowed to see Vanessa ever again. Vanessa's mom was in pain. She could never see her child again. Vanessa would grow up with William. What a painful life that would be for her. She should never have tried to make things work with them, knowing her intent was to fix a relationship, but instead, all she did was bring a new kid into the world who would have a life of pain. The thought was too much. Vanessa's mother picked up her gun, loaded it, brought it to her head, and pulled the trigger. Michael is so annoying. William was so sick of him asking over and over again, why did the robots try to kill me? William was so tired of the questions. He couldn't let Michael know too much. He couldn't let Michael get too close to the truth. He had to shut him up somehow. Perhaps he could set a trap? Yeah, William knew what to do about the annoying pest in his ear. He could get him a job at Circus Babies. That killer tech wouldn't have to go to waste after all. William thought perhaps he could program the Funtimes to do certain things on certain nights. He had to try. William hired a new technician. The plan was set. William programmed an AI called Hand Unit to give false instructions to the technician. The first night was simple. The technician was told to shock Ballora and get her on her stage, then do the same to Funtime Foxy, then do it one more time to Baby. Then he went home. On the second night, it was the same thing. He shocked Ballora, then Funtime Foxy, then Baby, but when he shocked Baby, the shock did not work and Hand Unit, trying to reboot everything, made the room go dark. Then the Biddy Babs came out and killed the technician. It worked! William even decided to have some fun with this. He made a keypad that's so messy that you can't type anything on there. He gave Hand Unit an angsty teen voice for night 2, and there were multiple ways to kill the technicians in case the Biddy Babs somehow failed. The technician would be instructed to crawl through Ballora Gallery fast. That way, Ballora could hear them. If that didn't work, the technician would reset everything while trying not to get killed by Funtime Freddy. If that didn't work, then on night 3, they had to run through Funtime Auditorium. They were told to use the flash beacon sparingly. That way, Funtime Foxy could sneak up on them. Then they had to repair Funtime Freddy. He may not have moved, but Bon Bon did. Then, if all of that failed, Funtime Foxy was meant to just go for the kill. It was the last resort. But the more technicians William hired, they would all be killed by Biddy Bab, except for one. There was a man who heard the Biddy Babs coming, so he crafted a small crawl space under the desk and hid. The Biddy Babs tried to get in, but failed. That was when Hand Unit told him to crawl through the Ballora Gallery, where the technician met his doom. William was impressed. Good thing he installed so many failsafes. Unknown to William, he wasn't the only one to watch this. His daughter, now in Baby, also watched. And she was interested. The trap was set, but how was William going to convince Michael to take the technician job? He kept bugging him about killer robots. Maybe it was time to tell a bit of the truth. William called Michael over to have a chat. William explained to Michael that when he first opened Babies, he had discovered the paranormal. Elizabeth had an accident with Baby that caused her to die. Michael wanted to know more about the accident. William managed to come up with lies. William made up some crap telling Michael he had to go to Circus Babies, take the technician job, and free his sister. Michael, wanting to help Elizabeth, fell for it. William told Michael to start Monday next week. William even offered to let Michael stay at his place during that time. Then, Michael left that day. He was interested in what his father told him. So ghosts, they are real, and his sister's spirit was inside the baby animatronic? That was a lot to take in, but it somewhat made sense? Suddenly, it dawned on Michael. Freddy's! That's why all that crazy stuff happened at Freddy's. The pizzeria had to be haunted by those kids that went missing. There were 5 children, right? And 5 animatronics? Their spirits must have ended up possessing the animatronics. That's why they were alive. That's why the building did weird stuff like change posters on the walls. That would even explain how he sensed Garrett. Garrett's soul must be at Freddy's too. Not only Garrett, but his friend, and the kids he was babysitting. Their souls had to have been in those special toy animatronics, right? Michael had to learn more about this, and that was going to start by freeing his sister. He could not wait for Monday. Fool, William thought. He wasn't going to last much longer in this world. Now that the trap for Michael was set, what else could he do? He is spending a lot more time at Circus Babies instead of that old Freddy's. So perhaps it was time to move on. William thought he should bring his family over to the new animatronics. But how? He went to sleep thinking of ways he could do it. Then that night he had a dream where he was Freddy? On stage, Bonnie and Chica were on both sides of him. The next night he had a similar dream, but that time Bonnie and Chica were looking at him. He heard a voice saying as he woke up, "It's me." Who said that? And what did these dreams mean? Did the kids figure out their situation? He hoped not. The next night, William dreamed of Bonnie and Chica looking at him angrily, and Golden Freddy was there too. "It's me," he heard again. Wait a minute, William realized the Freddy mask he looks through in these dreams isn't brown. Instead, it's purple? The next night, William had the same dream again. The animatronics no longer looked at him, but the puppet. The puppet followed him everywhere. William woke up again, hearing, "It's me." He then noticed a purple bear that looked kinda like Freddy in his room. The bear then faded away. Was that purple bear created by him? Could he maybe influence it somehow? William went to Freddy's that night. He hid in the safe room and communicated to Shadow Freddy. He and Shadow Freddy had a mind link. Shadow Freddy lured in each animatronic to the safe room. First Freddy, then Bonnie, then Chica, then Foxy. When they got lured into the safe room, William destroyed the animatronics one by one. He took their endoskeletons, and he took the kids' decayed bodies. He then did the same thing to Golden Freddy. William loaded up the endos and bodies in his car, and he drove back home, taking them down to Circus Babies. William lit up a furnace as he threw the endos of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy into the furnace, along with the 4 kids' bodies. Everything began to just melt together into this hot metal liquid. William took a syringe and stuck it into the haunted melted metal. He took a bit of the liquid and brought it to an invention he had been working on for a while, the scooper. Scalable creation of ulterior presence. The scooper was being designed to inject this element called Remnant into the Funtime animatronics. Remnant, William had learned from a genius scientist named Dr. Talbert, was made up of memories. It's a mix of the tangible with the intangible. When you take something like, let's say, a soul and mix it with something physical, like, let's say, an animatronic, it would have a similar reaction to the way water conducts electricity. It would make the memories and emotions of the soul feel almost real again, and give life to the animatronic. By luring the kids to the safe room, William had committed the incident from 1985 again. He was going to take away these kids' memories again. They would be in their happiest day-like state still, but this time they wouldn't know they control the animatronics. They would see William Afton as the Yellow Rabbit, whether he wore the suit or not. And they would attack anyone, not just grown-ups, A flaw with the animatronics they were in before, William thought, was that they never attack kids. But now, everyone was going to be a threat to their happiest day.